Humanity has been broken, and it was caught on camera. So some of them will be in this video because today I bring you a top 5 of people who defied logic. There is a woman of extremely high value who fell in love with a thief on the internet. You'll also meet a guy who claims he caught a fairy godmother, and you'll see some dogs driving cars. Then there's an incredibly toxic Karen who defies all reason, and finally, a group of guys who believe life is just like the GTA video game. We're kicking off this wild adventure with a real-life story. Meet Michaela, the star of our first scenario. She's a high-value woman who's married and has a daughter. At one point, she met the actor Dacre Montgomery online, and over time, the two fell in love and started an online romance, which eventually led to Michaela separating from her husband because she wasn't happy with him. Aww, true love really does exist! I want to live that dream, Mr. Poole!
Yeah, like that's ever gonna happen. What a logic.
Give this video a like if you think my boyfriend's cheating on me. But as it turns out, this dream was just that, a dream, because everything was a scam. The person she thought was Dacre Montgomery was actually a scammer who manipulated her into sending him money. In total, she ended up wiring him over $10,000. This high-value woman is another example of how humanity is broken, because her only proof that the scammer was the real Dacre was that he told her that he'd stopped posting on Instagram, which by coincidence was true, and that he'd appear in an upcoming episode of Stranger Things. When that episode aired, she took it as solid proof and ignored the fact that he'd never wanted to send photos, voice messages, or even do a video call. This reminds me of one of those classic Andrew Tate lines. Bro, if you're gonna give a woman money, just give it to me instead. Yeah, Michaela, just hand over that cash to me. I need it more than that scammer. Now we're heading to Mexico, a country full of bizarre stuff like El Chupacabras or that breaded alien Jaime Maussan showed off. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's something even crazier. A guy who claims he's actually caught a magical creature. This whole situation went down in Guadalajara. The big headline is all about Jose Maldonado, who said he captured a fairy godmother. This story is gold, especially the highlights, the news anchors, and Jose's big revelations during the interview. Let's start with Jose. Este Vataloco says he caught the fairy godmother in some bushes, and he believes it's a message from his late father. Ever since he captured this creature, he's started to believe everything you see on TV, monsters, ghosts, is real. Here's the clip of him saying it. I'll translate it to English since it's in Latin Spanish. I turned around and saw a glimmer in a clump of bushes. I thought it was strange, so I waited and then grabbed it. I ran to my friends and told them I'd caught a fairy godmother, and they were like, yeah, right, what are you smoking? But now I believe everything they show on TV, monsters, all that stuff, it's all real. Meanwhile, his mom and friends just thought he was totally out of it. His mom's reaction: I didn't believe in that stuff, so when he brought it to me, I said, oh honey, stop smoking so much crap, you've lost it. At this point, you're probably wondering, what does this so-called fairy godmother look like? What's so special about it? Does it say, you need a masculine man to take care of you? Well, your question is about to be answered. Ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary folks, I present to you the fairy godmother. I'm not kidding. That's the fairy Jose supposedly caught. As you can see, the fairy is basically a sticker, or maybe a toy with wings, or maybe that's just how fairies look in Latin America, while European fairies are more like Tinkerbell. Blonde, pretty, and high-value women who only date millionaires. According to the reporter, everyone thinks the fairy is real and even makes wishes on it. And to top it all off, the news anchors were totally deadpan about it, like they were almost convinced that this fairy godmother might be real. I don't know, Rick, it looks fake, but to keep the magic alive, I'll just say, yeah, that fairy is 100% real. Now drop a comment, real or fake fairy godmother? Humans aren't the only ones breaking humanity. Dogs are getting in on the action too. Let's check out 2 cases. For those of you outside the US, we'll have to jump the wall because the first case happened over there, specifically at a Walmart. In this situation, we've got 2 pups left alone in their owner's car. She left it running to keep the AC on for them. Maybe they got bored of waiting and were like, you know what, bro? Let's get the f out of here. The neighbor's lady dog's in heat, and we're wasting time. That's when one of them knocked the car out of park and it started rolling slowly toward the Walmart entrance, eventually bumping into the store's wall. The funniest part? After the little crash, a person walked over to see who was driving, and one of the dogs rolled down the window. I wouldn't be surprised if that dog barked something like, "What do you want, human? Can't you see we're busy here? Isn't it enough that you work every day just to survive?" The second case is similar, but this time it could have gone really bad. Things went sideways when the driver of a semi-truck stepped out to run into a store, leaving his dog inside. The dog somehow managed to turn on the truck and drove it for a few seconds. It might sound cute, but this time it wasn't, because the truck was headed straight for a gas station. Luckily, a small tree stopped it just in time. If it weren't for that tree, this whole situation could have ended in disaster. Now let's dive into the toxic world of Karens. Warning, warning, warning! Things are about to get super toxic. Somewhere on this planet, there's a crazy lady who broke all sense of humanity and logic over something totally ridiculous. This woman you're looking at right here goes beyond regular Karen levels and reaches a whole new tier. Drop a comment on what we should call this next level Karen. My suggestion? Nuclear Karen. This lady was so hungry that she could eat a horse. So she went to a fast food spot and ordered nachos with fries. But the restaurant was out. And that's where the chaos begins. She turned into a super aggressive Karen who lost all sense of logic and called the cops to report the restaurant for not having nachos. And like any classic chaotic Karen, she was ready to throw down with the employees, almost taking it to blows. All this over a simple order of nachos and fries. Maybe the cook makes them with their feet or something. Now I'm craving some. I demand nachos loaded with cheese. For some people, life's like an anime. They're not just the main character. But for others, they think life is like the GTA video game, and they act like it. In Grand Theft Auto, you can rob a store with random stuff that isn't even dangerous, and apparently you can pull that off in real life too. In this next story, I'll show you 2 cases where people literally did just that. The first situation that makes you lose faith in humanity involves a banana? There's this crazy guy who went shopping at a store, grabbed a banana and stuffed it in his pocket to pretend he had a gun. He acted like he was ready to start shooting if they didn't give him what he wanted. And believe it or not, he got away with a few bucks. The next one is even wilder and takes place in Israel. Apparently, this guy was going for that 5-star wanted level in real life, just like in Grand Theft Auto. So he decided to rob a bank with a black painted avocado. In the middle of the action, he claimed he had a grenade in his hand and was willing to use it if they didn't give him money. No one at the bank noticed that it was just an avocado, and they handed over $4,450. Since that trick worked, he decided to try it again and pulled off another heist, walking away with $3,300. However, the police eventually caught him by tracking his location through his police data.